What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. If you like buying cards and wouldn't mind helping a content creator out, feel free to use my TCG player affiliate link down below. It doesn't cost you anything to do so, except maybe an ounce of kindness. With Battles of Legends Terminal World comes another dual terminal archetype that got facelifted by new support. Our Genex Turbo, a card that never saw any play, is now a one-card starter for the archetype, leading to a full board. We're going to start this one by normal summoning the Turbo, and when it's normal summoned, we can add ourselves a level 1 Genex monster from our deck to our hand. In this case, we're going to add ourselves the Planner, and this happens to be another card that you can use as a one-card combo that I'll show later on in the video. But we're going to continue here by going into our first new card. This is the Repaired Genex Controller. It takes one level 4 or lower Genex monster. You can only special summon Repaired Genex Controllers once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can add one Genex monster from your graveyard to your hand. Once per chain, if a Genex monster is added to your hand, except by drawing it, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, normal summon one Genex monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except by synchro summoning using a Genex tuner as material. So not only are you synchro locked, but you do have to use a Genex tuner, which I think is a pretty decent payoff for being able to normal summon over and over again off of the repaired controller. And now we're going to use the effect of controller to get back our Turbo, normal summon the Turbo again. And the cool thing about these Genex cards also is that they are old, so there is no once per turn on these. So we're just going to be able to continue adding and continue spamming, as we're then going to use the effect of controller again, normal summon the Planner, use the effect of the Planner, which will then get us the Birdman. And the Birdman is another card that now, instead of being in an FTK deck way back when, where it got limited because of the missed Valley Field spell and other things that you could do in order to FTK your opponent, now it actually has a way to be a tuner for your Genexer, along with being able to be an extender, even play around hand traps, since if your opponent does happen to hand trap one of your normal summons, you can return it to the hand with the Birdman, then the Genex controller will be able to get you that extra normal summon later in the turn. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of the Genex controller again, and in most scenarios I would like to point out your opponent will hand trap the controller, but there are things that you can do to circumvent that I will go over in the deck profile. And now we're going to go into our Hyper Librarian, use the effect of the Birdman to bring back the Planner to hand, special summon it out, as we're then going to be able to use the controller to bring out the Planner, use the Planner in order to get ourselves the Undyne. We'll then be able to use the effect of controller again, normal summon the Undyne, use the effect of Undyne, sending our next new card, and this is the Genex Undyne, and it's a level 4 that reads, once per turn you can banish one Genex monster from your graveyard. This card gains that monster's attribute. Then, if you banish the tuner to activate this effect, this card can be treated as a tuner this turn, and this is really important because it means that you have yet another Genex tuner. But if you control a Genex synchro monster, you can target 2 Genex monsters in your graveyard, including this card, add them to your hand, also banish any card sent to your graveyard for the rest of this turn. So while you do kind of shifter yourself, you do have the flexibility of being able to use it whenever you want, so it doesn't really hurt you that bad. But we're going to get our Genex controller now, and from here we'll be able to use the effect of the Repaired in order to bring out the vanilla Genex controller, go into our Herald, as we're then going to get the draw off of the Hyper Librarian, and this is pretty important because it gives us a draw so that we can get for a discard off of the Axle, and the Axle is just a card that allows us to bring back a level 4 or lower machine type monster from our graveyard as long as we have a card to discard, and we're going to do just that, bringing back our Genex controller, I believe, or the recycled. And now we'll be able to go into the Earfun, and the Earfun is a really important card for this archetype, as not only can you change one of your Genex monsters into a tuner if you need to, but just the ability to open up space in your monster zone is really important, since you can really fill up the field fast with all your normal summons and having to get all the bodies you need in order to go for a synchro summon, especially once you already have monsters on board. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of the Earfun. We don't need to change anything into a tuner this turn, as we're now going to be able to equip it onto the level 8. You can equip it into whatever you want here, but we're now going to be able to use the effect of the Undyne in order to get back the Planner along with itself. And now we're going to end up normal summoning the Planner off of the controller. We'll then use the effect of the controller in order to add ourselves the Magma. Then we can normal summon the Magma off of the controller, as we're going to use the effect of Magma now, getting ourselves our next new card, and this is the Turing. It reads, during your opponent's main phase, if you control a Genex monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you can synchro summon one Genex synchro monster. You can only use this effect of our Genex Turing once per turn. If this card on the field is used as synchro material for a Genex monster, it can be treated as a level 1 or 3. So a really nice card here, as it's kind of like a Hoppier Squadron or whatever you would call it, as we're then going to be able to bring out the Genex Undyne, use the effect of the Undyne banishing the recycled so that we can change it into a tuner since the recycled is a tuner. And now we're going to go into the Omega. Now from here we're going to go onto our opponent's turn, and at any point during our opponent's turn, well, first during the standby phase, you can actually get back one of your Genex monsters, and this is really nice because it gives you an extra way to get back your Genex stuff. But now during our opponent's turn, whenever they do something that you want to respond to, you can use the effect of the Turing in hand, go into your next new card, and really the final new card, the Arms of Genex Return 0. It's a Synchro 10. It takes 1 Dark Tuner plus 1 non-tuner monsters. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish 1 monster from your graveyard with the same attribute as that monster, but a different one than those banished to activate this effect of Arms of Genex Return 0. This turn, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. So I don't know why it's written so confusingly, but it's kind of detrimental that you do need something of the same archetype as your opponent's monster, simply because you may just not have that. While the is dominated by fire, that doesn't really stop people from playing the plethora of different decks that there are out there. As its next effect reads, once per turn, you can target up to 6 of your Genex monsters with different attributes that are banished and or in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then you can destroy up to that many cards in the spell and trap zone. So just another way to recur your Genex stuff, which is really convenient. But with that, I'll take you on to the next combo. This next combo features Bonfire, yet another archetype that benefits off of this card, and this will be able to get ourselves the Magma. And now we're going to start here by normal summoning the Magma, use the effect in order to get ourselves Crusher. From here, we'll use the Magma to go into our controller, and now we can really start going off as we can get our Magma back to hand, normal summon the Crusher. We'll then be able to use the effect of Crusher. This will give us the ability to add the Turbo, and then you've kind of seen this before, as we're going to use the effect of the Turbo in order to add ourselves the copy of the Planner. Now we can normal summon the Planner off of the controller, as we'll then be able to grab ourselves the copy of the Genex Undyne. From here, we'll then be able to use the controller again, normal summon the Undyne, use the effect in order to send a new Undyne, get ourselves the Genex controller, as now we'll normal summon the Genex controller. Then we'll be able to start synchro summoning here, as we're going to go into the Axle, and then from here we're going to use the effect of Axle, pitching the Magma, get back the Genex controller. From here we can then go into our Earfawn, and from here we'll use the effect of Earfawn in order to change the Turbo into a tuner so that we can then go into our Crystal Wing. And now we can use the effect of the Undyne to get back the Magma, as we're then going to use the effect of the controller, use the Magma's effect once we normal summon it in order to get ourselves into our Turing. And now we can get the extra normal summon off of the controller for the Undyne. And now you can use the effect of Undyne in order to go either into a Dawn Dragster. You can also go into the Quantal Dragon, I think it's called, the one that prevents targeting from attack and card effects and makes it so that your opponent has to target it for an attack. But you do have to control a Link monster, which we do, and I think that's what the effect is. I don't remember. I'll go over it in the deck profile. But with that, just another way to get you into a full board off of just one card, which you'll see is really a recurring thing in this archetype. Bonfire, Magma, and the Turbo, along with the Planner as mentioned, are all ways to get you into full boards. Of course, the Turing here will give you access into another level 10 synchro play with the Genex Ally Axle on board. Now, for this next combo, we're going to be featuring the Genex Crusher, and we're going to start here by normal summoning it, using its effect in order to add ourselves the Turbo, go into our Link monster, as now we can start our spamming here, as we're going to get back the Crusher, normal summon out the Crusher, or the Turbo, I'm sorry, and then use the effect of Turbo in order to get ourselves the Planner. We'll then be able to get the extra normal summon again, normal summon out the Planner, use the effect in order to add ourselves the Birdman. From here, we'll then use the effect again of control, or normal summon the Crusher so that we can add ourselves our next card, the Genex Turbo again, and then we'll get another normal summon here off the repaired controller, use the effect of the second Turbo in order to get ourselves the recycled. Then we can use the effect of the controller again for the recycled, go into our Dawn Dragster. From here, we'll then be able to use the effect of the Genex Ally Birdman, and it's important to note that we went into the Dawn Dragster first in order to clear up space, as that is important to do before you continue on with the rest of your play, since you're going to continue normal summoning and adding stuff, and you want the zones open in order to continue to play. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of controller to bring out the Planner again. Planner will then be able to add the Undyne. We can then use the effect of the controller again, and this is just one of those scenarios where we won't be able able to normal summon out the Genex controller that we add because our board is filled, but it really doesn't matter because we haven't gone into our Axel yet, so now we can just end up discarding the Genex controller, bring back a card as we get back the recycled, go into our Earfon, use the effect of Earfon. Again, you don't have to turn anything into a tuner there, I'm just showing that you can, but we're now going to use the effect of Undyne. We'll get back the planner along with the Undyne. We'll then use the effect of the controller, normal summon out the planner. The planner can then get ourselves the magma. From here, we can then normal summon out the magma off of the controller, use the effect of the magma to get ourselves the Turing. Now we'll be able to use the controller again, get out the Undyne on board, and with this we can go into another Synchro 8 here to round out our end board, with the Turing giving us the Synchro 10 play during our opponent's turn, and then we have the Dawn Dragster for the Spell and Trap Negate. Now, for this next combo, and I think it's also the final one, just because really 15 different cards that can get you into your one card combo with the 3 Bonfire, the 3 Planner, the 3 Crushing, the 3 Crusher, or whatever you call it, the 3 Magma, and the 3 Turbo. And once you have one of those cards, it's pretty much full combo with options from there. And I didn't feel it was worth showing 2 or 3 card combos because you really just only need one. And we're going to start here by using the effect of Planner in order to get ourselves the Birdman. We're then going to go into our Link Monster, as we'll use the effect of the Link Monster in order to get ourselves back the Planner. Normal summon out the Planner, as we'll then be able to use the Planner again in order to get ourselves the Magma. Then we'll be able to normal summon out the Magma here off of the controller, use the effect of Magma, grab ourselves the Crusher, as we'll then be able to normal summon the Crusher off of the Link Monster, use the effect of the Crusher in order to get ourselves the Turbo, use the effect of the controller in order to bring out the Turbo. Now use the effect of Turbo, which will get ourselves the recycled, use the effect of controller. So this thing is pretty funny in how it works, but we're then going to go into our Axel, use the effect of the Birdman, bring back the Planner to hand. We'll then special summon out Birdman and then be able to use the effect of the controller since we got back the Planner to hand. Normal summon the Planner, use the effect again in order to get ourselves the Genex Undyne. From here we'll then be able to use the effect of controller, normal summon out the Undyne, use the effect to send the new Undyne, get ourselves the Genex controller. From here we can then go into our Earfon, use the effect changing the Undyne into a tuner, use the effect of the Axel to pitch the Genex controller, get back the Genex controller, go into our Hyper Librarian. Now we can go into Dawn Dragster, get a draw. From here we'll then be able to use the Undyne, get ourselves the Magma, as we're then going to normal summon out the Magma off of the controller, use the effect of the Magma in order to get ourselves the Turing, and now we can normal summon out the Undyne via the controller, and then this will give us the ability to get yet another draw as we go into our Quantal, I think it's called, or the Quantum Dragon. We can get ourselves the second draw here along with the Turing to give us that Synchro 10 access with the Turing and the Axel, and then of course we also have the Dawn Dragster for the Spell and Trap Negate. You get a couple of draws, which can really be anything, and then you also have the Quantum Dragon, which means that your opponent can't target your stuff, so they can't imperm their way into playing around your Dawn Dragster, which is pretty important in my opinion. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and this is a really funny deck profile. As you saw, once you have one of these cards, you're able to do whatever you want, or you're pretty much able to make your full synchro board. The rest of it is really just ways to play around hand traps. You play the Veilers, the Imperms, and the Nibs because of the crossouts. They're also the things that hurt this deck the most, along with things like Shifter and Nib that you can side deck for your crossout. Then I also would like to point out that having the ability to play the 3 crossout called by Saravis and the 3 Genex Ally Birdman also make this deck a lot more resistant to things like Imperm and Veiler, as you're able to protect yourself from targeting more often, and it's kind of crazy how you even commit 10 slots to it, which is almost as many as your 15 starters. This deck isn't really losing to things like Imperm and Veiler, though there will be hands where maybe you don't have the out, and then having something like Genex Ally Birdman can get you into that extra way to keep playing. So just a really cool dynamic that this deck has, and it not only has a lot of space to play your starters, but then you also have going second slots dedicated to protecting yourself, while the Genex Ally Birdman not only serves as an extender, but also as a way to play around potential disruptions. Now, if there's one thing I would like to mention is that if you are going to play 2 of one of these cards, I didn't know which one I wanted to do. I felt like it was wrong to play 2 of Undynes. You might as well go over 40, and I was trying to keep the deck at 40. The other option that you have is to play 2 of the Turing, but I didn't think it was necessary, as you kind of do want the second controller just in case it does get hit by a Runic or something that can get it out of your deck and into the banish banish zone so that you can't use it without having a way to get it back. So that's why I chose to go with the 2 controllers. But with all of that out of the way, I don't have much else to say, as everything that I have in the side deck is really just things that you want to use for the crossout, and then everything that is for the extra deck is really just options that you can play if you would like to. You do have a lot of synchro options that you can technically use, since things like Undyne can make itself into a tuner, and there's a lot of ways to get your normal summons on board. So this is a level 4. If it becomes a tuner, it's a level 4 tuner. You have 3 and 2. This can get you into your 9s, can even trish your opponent. There's also things like Crocosaur that you can make as well. Then of course there's Typhon if you want to use that. I chose to bring in the SP Little Knight just because for your follow-up turns, being able to go into it with your repaired Genex controller I felt was really strong. Being able to get that banish if you need to, really easy access to do so. But with all of that out of the way, I'm just going to get onto the card by card, as I don't have much else to say, as we have the 3 Turbo, the 3 Magma, the 3 Crusher, the 3 Planner, and the 3 Bonfires, our 15 starters. Then we have the 1 Turing, our 2 controllers, our 1 Recycled, the 1 Undyne, the 1 Old Undyne, the 3 copies of the Birdman, the 3 copies of the Crossout, the 1 copy of Called By, 3 Imperm, 3 Veiler. We then have the 3 Saravis, again to protect yourself from any of these. We then have the 3 copies of Nib. Onto the extra deck, we have the 1 copy of SP, the 2 copies of the controller, the 1 copy of the Return Zero, 1 Ruddy Rose, which can also be Cheng Ying, or even the Ice Jade level 10 Synchro. Then we have Shen Shen, along with the Axel, Crystal Wing, Omega, the Quantum Dragon, Black Rose. Then we have the 1 copy of Don Drax, Hyper Librarian, the 1 copy of Earfun, and the 1 copy of the Arclight to round out the deck profile. So for everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching, and for the 700 plus subscribers. I truly appreciate your support, and now that we've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships means that more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below, and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I've made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. For those wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. Anyways, I hope to see you on the next one. It's Bones signing